Okay, we are live, and I think we have audio this week. Hooray!
Hooray! Do we have audio?
We do.
I don't trust.
audio.
I don't trust anything. Metageeky says audio. Hooray! Audio exists. Welcome, welcome one and all to our internet friends and webcomic fans who have come to join us as always. It is I, your friendly neighborhood dungeon biologist. It is yet another episode of steaming hot trash heroes. The Dungeons & Dragons stream, wherein we recount the epic adventures of the wildly improbable collection of horrible creatures known as the Trash Heroes. Our players, as always, this collection of talented internet cartoonists. Please check out their work, all of their Patreons, and support them online. You can see their Twitter and other types of handles, and check out samples of their work at the links in your upper right. And I'm going to point correctly, I hope,
Looks good.
to the box. And yeah, so without further ado, I'll introduce the characters. First up, Keeper of the Vermin, Protector of the Trash Heap, Fetid Quaggle. And then next we have larger than life pit fighting superstar, Ugna Sugar Tusks. And our trickster cleric, Trickster cleric, rogue baker, and all-around party animal Trixty. No, Tromlin Dariels.
What's your nickname now?
Some call him Trixty.
Trixty
when he's wearing the
Tromlin.
right boots. And then we have our all-natural Genasi swamp druid, Glorpa.
I don't know.
Woo!
I can
And
smell
finally,
that from here.
our sweet old grandpa, who is also accidentally an ancient warlock, Copernicus Sunshine. When we last left our heroes, we had actually split the party. Dun dun dun.
Like 3 times.
Yeah, we had split the party in 3. Not in twain, but in train? I don't know how that works. So we left Ugna and Perny at the Casa Luzadia, where Perny's nephew thing lives. This is the house where Perny has been staying with his family member, and that is where Perny's occult library resides. And so he and Ugna went there to look up some information about this crazy broken rune sword that Ugna has acquired. And while they were doing that research, Tromlin has gone into the marketplace with his food truck, and moved it around to the side of the market closest to Quaggle Rock, and so he can be nearby as Glorpa and Fetid head down into the rock to consult with Madam Trash Heap, the all-knowing, all-seeing, wise oracle of the Quaggles. And for new people to the stream who may not know, Quaggles is our general term for the small creatures in D&D that live on the fringes of society, like in the sewers, for example. And that's where we left off. So I think I'm going to pick up a bit with Perny and Ugna, and just a few more bits there, because Perny and Ugna will basically are there for quite some time for the morning while the other events are going on with the rest of the group. So I'm going to move through a bit more of that. And we can play around with some time dilation here and say that they went to the Luzadia house earlier in the day so that we can sync up without having to think about how long it's been. So you've done a whole bunch of research. You've started finding stuff about these runes. You've interpreted the runes, which was the first thing, the first step, and found that other than the magical sigils that give this sword whatever power it had before it was broken, there were also runes that represented a bunch of concepts which are probably related to the magic of this sword. And I gave you that. I won't go through it again, but you've got that as a text. And then you also have some names of the dwarven smith god, but also the dwarves who probably are the legendary dwarven smiths that crafted this magic rune blade. you have that information and enough sort of details about the description of the sword, these dwarf names, that you feel like you could do a bunch more research, which will probably take, days to weeks, to maybe find some historical information about this sword and its origins buried in your library. But in addition to that, you also were planning to do an identification ritual
Oh, right.
and identify the magic item that Glorpa had acquired as a raven, which was some kind of obsidian medallion polished to a mirror-like shine and just adorned with a simple steel chain. And so while we get into that, this is probably a good time to get into our first poll.
First
Uh,
poll.
I'm just
I'm going
going to
turn the chat away.
double check with my shadow DM that he is good to go on the poll, which I suspect is the case. And if you can head yourselves out, yep, poll is up and launched. As always, audience, I will remind ye that the poll runs for about 10 minutes. You can vote extra times with your bits and channel points. And I have been led to understand that the way that it works now for subscribers is that it's just cheaper. It's not double votes, it's just cheaper to vote extra times. That is what I've been informed. Not 100% sure that's how it works, but maybe it does. This is as much Twitch as I understand. So please vote often. Make sure that the one you want is what is going to happen. And in the meantime, I will continue with our story. So, Copernicus, you want to do a little bit of a ritual while you've got some books handy to look into things you might need to, and check out this medallion.
Yeah, I
So
definitely want to do some CSI magic on the medallion, and for the sword, I'm also interested in trying to research. I think I'm more interested in Khazar, the person who actually made the marks, the maker's marks,
excellent.
more than learning more about the gods, just because I feel like they probably put the gods on all the swords,
So
Yeah.
the list of names on the sword, that I will repeat because it's a short single sentence. I was going to find that I got to go to the text channel somewhere I put it, but I'm going to repeat it for the audience's sake. That it said broker's blessings upon it, and that is the dwarven smith god. Adun smelted it, Eitri forged it, I Khazar made these marks.
Oh,
So
okay, so
those three you believe are all dwarven smiths
okay,
involved in the process.
So I guess I want to learn more about them, and especially see if it's like, depending if like there's a smelting guy, there's a forging person, there's an expert in chiseling. We might be able to narrow
Runes,
down
yeah,
which sword this is based on like the particular combination of people who worked on it, if they didn't always work together or something. So I'm interested
so,
in those more than just the general dwarf god.
for sure. So I'll say that's where. So you're starting that research process, which will take more than the scope of today.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you can also do this ritual, which only takes 10 minutes. Um, And what you are able to glean is that this medallion, this obsidian chunk of flattened obsidian, um, is some sort of summoning magic that is an elemental of some kind, you think, can be released or summoned or otherwise brought into existence using this magic.
Okay.
And it would definitely require attunement
Mm-hmm.
for someone, but you can actually sense with your ritual that it has already begun to attune through this past night to Glorpa, who has been hanging on to it for a couple days now.
Mm-hmm. Well, Glorpa's
Interesting.
already got the element of water covered, so I feel like Glorpa having like a second element in her repertoire seems like a great idea, and I can see no ill consequences coming
We're gonna
from
make Glorpa into the
this.
Avatar.
Yeah.
Huh?
So yeah,
Good.
yeah, exactly.
Good.
So
I
yeah,
already got
I will.
wind, but just in a different way.
Sweet. Okay,
It's
cool.
similar.
I'll pass it on when I see Glorpa. The other thing I was gonna do is just check in with Ugna about how she's feeling about what we've learned about the sword. And I just want to recap. So there's a chunk missing from the middle of the sword, which is why
Yep.
it can't be reforged or fully
Yeah.
identified
It's
right
also
now.
why you don't know the name of it,
The name of the sword. Okay.
because the actual name of the sword was near the center of the runes, and that's the
Yeah.
piece that's missing.
Right.
Yeah.
I will point out that
check. Yeah.
during this, while you've been researching, Ugna's been super helpful if you need something down from a shelf or otherwise. But
Oh,
anything
amazing.
thinky, not her business. So she skipped her early morning workout to come here with you this early because you were up at old man times.
Yeah.
So when you don't need her, she's like doing sit-ups and like doing push-ups with an entire shelf on her back.
It's a good thing that we've sealed away and that my relative is not watching the precious collections be bench pressed.
Correct.
But to keep Ugna involved, I'll sometimes ask for random books I don't need that are on high shelves and be like, "Oh, the red one up there."
Yeah, she's always super happy to like leap to her feet and go grab a book for you.
But so how do you feel about what we've learned and these mysterious words carved into the blade?
God, I don't know. I don't know why my mom had like a dwarven blade. I guess adventurers get stuff like that sometimes. Seems real magic though.
Yes, well, I feel that she sent it to someone who could keep it safe and in good hands. So I'm so glad that it found its way to you.
People would kill to get this blade though, right? Like that's not just something that I came up with.
Yeah, I think that we are going to be pursued until we understand the nature of this. I have a feeling there will always be someone interested in getting a look at it, if not to take it away. Well, one thing we might consider, the blade is in two pieces, and it's only of use when it's in one. If you trust Tromlin or somebody else to carry another of the pieces, we can make it harder for someone who wants to learn what we know to get all of it.
That's not a bad idea. But Tromlin's not really. I guess. Well, Tromlin's pretty good at fighting sometimes, but not when somebody could see him. Like, not if he's just gonna like have a punch in the face contest. That's not his thing.
Yes, if our group were to pick one of us for a punch in the face contest, like we did 3 episodes ago, I would want it to be you.
Okay. Well, I guess that is not the worst idea, because if somebody's fighting me and we got to get the other part of the blade away, Tromlin can run real fast. And if somebody manages to get Tromlin, then I'm coming for him anyway. So.
Very true.
At this point, there is a knock on the door.
Oh, why don't I go see who that is? So I'll go crack it open a crick. Oh,
it's Don Emilio, and with him behind him there is a servant, probably a pair of servants, carrying a small crate between them, and he says, "Uncle, I have something for you. How is it going in there?"
Oh, it's all going very well here. How are you?
There's like some thumping in the background as Ugna like bench presses another stack of books.
I mean, if I hear him talking, I'll probably like put it down and start wiping off. Yeah.
I say, Uncle, a message has come for you, and some sort of gift, I think. Oh no, we lost Randy.
Oh no.
How's our?
He'll be back.
There we go. Mainly just a question of our layout. Oh, I forgot to ask you. Did we get the? Do we know if the bit counter is accurate?
Yep, should be. It's saved from last
and functioning?
Time. Yeah.
Good. I'll mention that or remind the audience of that shortly. So he says, oh yeah, that's Randy's background, right? I was like, what am I hearing?
Oh shit, sorry.
No worries.
That sounds like a party out there.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
For 4-year-olds.
A toddler party. The worst party.
Yeah, kind if you're a toddler. Yeah, so he says, I have this letter from a merchant that I know, Diomedes. You mentioned him last night, or I guess that was this morning. You mentioned him earlier. He'll say, and he'll hand over the note.
Alrighty, I'll.
And it came with this crate, and he snaps his fingers at the servants, who will just set the crate down at the door, and they both bow and step away.
I think I'll read it to myself in front of Ugna, but not like show the paper, just in case I have any follow-up questions about like how it was delivered. But what does the
The letter is very short. It just says it has probably just your name, Copernicus Sunshine, care of Casa Lucidia, Mudhollow, 001100, and the Northlands. And it just it says, I wish to thank you for your assistance, and for your Raven Lady's timely warning. My companions and I have made it safely to Ravenfall. I knew that you were interested in such things, so I thought you might like this gift of some rare books that I no longer have a buyer for.
Yeah.
If ever any of you are in Al Felicia, my welcome will be kingly. Yours, Diomedes Uldop Iza, or as we know, Dildo Pizza for short.
Dildo pizza.
Mhm.
Lovely. Do I have any books in my collection that are like valuable but not particularly interesting? Like he just sent me like, this is worth nothing to me, but you'll find it nice and interesting. Can I send him back like this isn't very interesting to me, but it'll be worth money to you? If
You could, but you would have to. You'd have to like arrange a way to get it there to him, and you know that he's moving around too. He's not going to stay.
Okay.
But
we
something you
did
could
save his
consider at some
bacon.
point.
Well, yeah. I mean, if
Yeah.
nothing else, I'd like to
Yeah.
send him a thank you note.
Okay, thank you to the channel voters. The vote is now complete. I know what I need to know, and therefore it is safe for players to return.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I'm just going to throw out a reminder as well for the audience. Remember that at any time, it is fine for you guys to cheer for the players. And if you do so, it adds to their bit counter. And those bits eventually will contribute to giving everybody more inspiration for use during the game. Just in case we have some new people who don't recall that is a thing.
Can I cheer for us? Like, if I've been in the shadow this time?
Yay.
Oh, I can't.
That's not fair.
I can
Yes,
totally
you can.
cheat. This is amazing.
Hate to play, but
Although, Alina, I'm seeing
Uh,
some
It looks
cheers, and
like
I didn't see the counter go up.
Yeah, I thought it was
Oh no,
at
it
58,
did. It was.
and now it's.
Oh, it
yeah.
is. It is
Yeah.
going up. It is
I'm
going
just
up.
making sure it's updating.
It's just my weird delay.
Mm.
I'm just all paranoid because
Yay.
it wasn't working last game.
We get cheers.
Uncle R is there. Okay, so, yeah, you want to check out these books?
These
Yeah.
books.
I'm gonna poke on through these.
So you open up this crate. It's not very big, but it's quite heavy. But Ugna can easily like reach one arm out and snatch it off the floor and bring it into the room for you. There is probably about somewhere between 6 and 10 books here. Let's say 8 significant sized tomes. Most of them are books of history, which you find, very pleasing because you have quite a collection already. They can be added to your collection.
May or may not have lived through it.
But yeah, not that anybody needs to know. But you
Depends on the
do
era.
notice, yeah, you do notice one of the books is a small, little, almost pocket-sized book bound in a very
You're saying pocket
vivid
size,
red
but
leather.
You did this with your hands. I
You've
require
got really big
clarification.
pockets.
Size.
You got big pockets.
Okay.
Would fit in a pocket.
Old man pants.
Okay. That is like that's on Perny. That pocket would be most of his torso.
What I would,
It's an Ugna
I'm
pocket.
not sure what the term is. There is a term for it, and I forget what it's not folio, but it's sort of that.
Oh, okay.
The quarto, I don't
Like
remember.
bigger than
It's
a
all like
moleskin,
old.
smaller than a
Yeah,
notebook.
both the size of a moleskin, really, or a little bit bigger than a moleskin.
Medieval A5.
Like 8 inches long book,
By
manga
11.
sized.
Okay. Good manga.
I just say manga just because it's all comic
He
people.
sent
You'll know what that means.
Except he
a
didn't
rare
send
manga.
3,000 volumes, so it can't be manga.
No, and it's very thin for a manga. It's not a very big book, but it does seem to be entitled in runes that you quickly recognize to be a form of infernal script.
Ooh.
I guess abyssal
I'll
is
have
the
to
term
find
I was
someone
using.
who reads this.
Yeah, Ugda's like blinking at you because has no idea
No.
what this script is.
No.
Um,
I
but
barely
you
read
quickly
common.
interpret. Yeah, you quickly interpret that this is a book of blood magic.
Hey. I've been wanting to learn more about that.
And I will reveal again to the audience that this is the beginning of Copernicus's new level gains, because
Ooh.
Copernicus is gonna invest in some funky feats. Oh, you don't know what exactly you can get out of that book yet, but you're going to definitely want to do
Oh, we're
some research
definitely
on
gonna
that.
find out, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You may randomly just like see Perny in a corner at times over the next few days, like petting his palm and then
Oh, not me, just leveling up.
Just feeding the book.
Don't mind me. Yeah, so let me see if there's anything else I wanted to do with you guys. I think that was... Yeah, so from there you're going to obviously, you can continue your research and press on for the day, but eventually Ugna is going to get very, very bored.
You can only do
but
so many push-ups.
yeah, but in the meantime, while this is going on, I will move the action over to Quaggle Rock. In fact, down at Quaggle Rock. So let's pull up the map. This is actually a good time for the map.
Yeah.
I hate you for that
Music
joke.
for us.
Yes, that was the point. I feed on your hate.
Down with Quaggle Raw.
Like all DMs, like all good DMs, I will feed on the hate of my players. Okay, so here we go. We've got the map. So I will remind those who may or may not have had a chance to check out the map of Mudhollow. In the center, big number 5 there is the marketplace, which has the temple nearby, as well as number 2, the big old arena that is known as the Mudhole. And south but near the Mudhole is number 10, up against the walls of the outer keep. A great big rocky outcropping that is partly underneath the castle, that is known as Quaggle Rock, because of a bunch of little tunnels and dens leading down into it. Oh, Randy, do you want to mute again? Just whenever you're not
Sorry.
talking.
Hold on. I thought I was.
Yep. Just so the kids party, kitty TV. I'm sure there are parents among those in the chat going like, no flashbacks.
I'm sure there's parents in the chat who didn't even hear that because it's just that's how the world is.
Just tune it right out.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tromlin, you have gotten your hands on your food cart, and instead of going to your usual spot along the Hawker's Row, which is number 6 for those following along at the top of the marketplace, instead you move to the south of the marketplace just to be handily nearby Quaggle Rock. Business is going to be a little bit slower there than it would be elsewhere because there's a kind of a stench that comes from Quaggle Rock. But your business is still pretty hopping because you've been away, and so lots of people who sort of want to and keep an eye out for your wares are hungry for it.
Can I actually work this to my advantage and work on a recipe for the day that's heavy in garlic and other scents that will overwhelm when you eat it, so you can't smell the stench around you?
Yeah, going for some sort of a big savory, onions and garlic kind of focused, for sure. You can make savory, like hell. You can go for like curry puff type
very
stuff.
Stench forward cooking.
Yep, stench forward. That new trend in the foodies.
Should I do a roll for this?
You can, but you're real good at this. But yeah, just to see how spectacular they are. So, yeah, that's your proficiency bonus plus wisdom.
That's a total plus 7, right?
Yep.
That is a dirty 20.
So, how appropriate that your filth buns or whatever you want to call them are your sent forward curry things are a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Sorry.
It's a dirty 20 for us.
It's okay,
Oh, no,
the
we lost
audience
Randy
can't see
again.
the cat butt.
But Ben and Randy, I'm sorry.
That's just a bonus for us streamers.
Yep.
I like your definition of bonus.
Yep.
Our name bars for like the sensor bar over your cat butt.
Yep. I'm sure if people got a few little flashes of cat orifice there.
God.
Welcome
It's,
to
all,
Trash
it's
Heroes.
people. It's people online. They probably have cats. They probably see a cat eating this every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every morning.
Let's get your daily cat anus. So while this is going on, Tromlin, so you're actually getting a decent crowd. And while this is going on, the other two, Fetid and Glorpa, you can head on down into the rock. And Glorpa, you've been here before when you first came to town and met Fetid, and he said he could find you some work. You spent the night down in the tunnels.
Sure found me some work.
Yeah, it's a little close down there. It's not like open as you're used to in the swamps, but it's the smell is similar. It's just as damp. It's like home. It's your home away from home.
It's like home under a rock in a log. Very long log.
It winds all over the place. So yeah, as you go down through the winding tunnels, Fetid, you run into the usual suspects, all your buddies down here. I don't have your info sheet in front of me, but I recall Mel, Fetid Toe, or Infected Toe, and Booger Muckburrow, and many others besides Ma and Pa, Quaggle.
Mel temporarily healed toe.
Yeah, it's probably getting infected again by now.
Could just be a different toe that's messed up.
Yeah, that's true.
And there is actually a merchant stall right next to Quaggle Rock that is run by Ma and Pa Quaggle. That is basically kind of a bit of a rundown open air cafe where a lot of the Quaggles and other ne'er-do-wells of the market kind of come and hang out. And in fact, there's very welcome attitude towards the presence of Tromlin's cart down here. Because hey, so some good eating, and those Quaggles who have a few bucks are happy to wander over and get themselves some victuals, as they refer to them, in the traditional Quaggle fashion.
Begging?
Yeah.
Well, there's some of that too, for sure. And a certain amount of free advertising, because you've been getting some good food to the Quaggles recently, and they're gonna tell everyone they see and everyone they know, hey, that's real good stuff over there.
Well, I imagine that also for people who just can't afford it. I probably make a base stew. Here, I grew up homeless. Yep. Here, have this base thing. Is what you want. If you've got some money, I've been making a thing called a Quaggle pie, which is a little bit of Stilton cheese, some garlic, a little bit of fermented onion, a little bit of certain types of fish, and some potatoes to kind of help absorb some of that. It's like a horrible nightmare, stinky shepherd's pie.
It slows you down for a bit. At first, you're kind of like, I'm not getting a lot of sales, until kind of the word spreads around. Because as soon as anyone sees or hears it's called a Quaggle pie, they're gonna look over at the rock and kind of be like,
what's the meat in this?
Made with the best Quaggles.
I don't know if I want to eat that.
It'll build up your immunity.
Isn't one of them called Infected Toe? I'm a little hesitant.
No, we fixed that last night. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Temporarily
healed toe.
Your infected ankle now.
You did purify food and drink.
Oh, right.
I also imagine I advertise the fact that I am a cleric and everything is purified.
Oh yeah. So, philosophical question about the nature of purified food and drink. At what point does it become food? Could you heal a person by casting that on them if you intended to eat them? And if so, at what point in the preparation process are they
so
food?
I think it's up to DMs. If it was a game I was DMing, it would depend on your god. Like, if you had a god who was fine with that, like a more barbaric god or evil god or god who just like was wild and into like whatever.
You have left out the gourmand gods who are just very curious about.
Well, you would have to have at that point an evil gourmand, because cannibalism in eating sentient races in D&D is listed as an evil act.
Yep.
So you'd have to have
Probably
short-sighted, shallow-minded.
I have seen rules in previous editions long ago for this very thing that basically amounted to, God, it might have even been a Dragon magazine article that amounted to, if it's still alive, it's not food. You may intend to eat it, but until you actually get to the point, which of course the argument is that, so if you eat things alive, you can't use purified food and water on it first.
And there are foods that are meant to be eaten live. So I think this is all very interesting as an example of category theory.
But yeah, theoretically, if it was you're eating a live snail or something, I could not purify that.
Right.
And depending on which god I have for the day, like if I have an Underdark god, they probably you can purify that human calf muscle.
What's amazing about that is that it's the eviler the god, the more benevolently you can use purification spells.
I would argue not necessarily evil, because some gods are just so wild and part of nature, primal. They'll be like whatever. Like, let's be honest. Like there are. So I'm sorry. I'm getting off subject.
This is great.
It's great though. No, this is good.
I'm mentally developing a course about the ethics of Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, I mean, there are South American tribes that practice cannibalism, and it's not like it's part of ritual. It's sometimes it's a part of a mourning process. This loved one died. I will eat part of them, so they are part of me. So cannibalism can't. Well, I mean, you can't across the board say, "Oh, this is always evil."
Well, and in fact, I've heard that argument used to say that that rules that require or that state cannibalism as an evil act are culturally insensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Nice.
and I think it's valid. I would if it was a game I'm DMing, I would honestly say, if you had a god that was more feral, like you worship a god of true nature that's completely neutral, is it dead? Did you make it suffer? Do you know? You didn't make it suffer? It just died?
Yeah.
It's meat. Purify it.
Did you hunt it yourself?
Yep.
That's all that requires. Yeah.
Did you do it? Or if it was an honor thing, did you worship a god of an honorable hunt? You defeated this thing in an honorable hunt, and you were respecting it. That's fine.
By eating it. You're making sure it doesn't go to waste.
Yes. If anything, you are making sure it is a part of the system, is a part of you, and one day you will be part of the system. I would personally, as a game master, say that is allowed.
Perny is standing up clapping. Perny's bait bucket is standing up clapping.
So to simplify an answer for your question, you cannot use purified food and water to heal something because it has to be dead to be targeted by the spell. But as long as it can be eaten, it can be targeted by the spell.
Cool.
As long as you intend to consume it. And whether or not your god is cool with it is going to depend on your relationship to your god. That's between you and...
Garl Glitter Gold isn't going to be like, okay, cool. Is it? What? Back the fuck up.
Run that by me one more time.
Can I purify food and water on this gnome corpse? And Garl Glitter Gold is going to be like, whoa, buddy.
Yeah,
but Loth would be like, tell me more. How are you preparing it?
I also like when you approach your god with a would you be mad question, it starts a flowchart, or is this hypothetical, or did you already do this?
And it's always you already did it.
It's easier to ask for permission or for forgiveness than for permission.
It's easier to restore lost levels than to gain new ones.
I would honestly argue, if you have a god of bureaucracy, that is a form of worship.
Well, speaking of gods, I should remind everybody, the audience, that today Tromlin is actually worshipping Ebisu, the
Right.
southern orcish god of fishermen and luck. And so we were talking about there being fish involved in your offerings for today. So you could put some stinky fish in that.
It's a good
That
anchovy
could be
pie.
a fish pie. That could be like a stinky cheese and anchovy pie.
It's
Imagine it's a-
stargazy
For real.
pie, but with like anchovies.
So I was thinking it's basically like a version of like a shepherd pie, but with fish and like
I'm
other
down.
like vegetable like a lot of starches to absorb, so you're not like, oh god, but also a lot of just like everything.
Have you seen British stargazy pie? Where they like
Yeah.
take a fish and like have it
Fish
sticking
heads.
out of the pie just to look at you.
So you can see the head, so you
Good.
know it's good.
You know it's fresh.
this thing felt its death.
Mhm.
I like the name though.
God.
The name is
Quaggle
excellent.
pie.
Yeah,
My
it's the only.
food can look at the sky.
Stargazy
Stargazy.
pie sounds like
It's-
something a My Little Pony character eats.
Yes.
It does not sound like
Correct. Horrifying fish death pie.
I like that it's the only food that can like scrutinize you as much as you scrutinize it. Like it's the abyss is staring back at you.
oh my god, animate dead and talk with animals. Like, oh seriously, you're just gonna let half of me go to waste? I fucking died for this. Show some respect.
Yikes.
Sorry, anyway, I didn't realize the whole game.
That's all good.
I
Oh,
mean,
this is going
discussions
on.
of
This
gods
is the
and
first time I've
food.
talked to
Always good.
non-toddlers all day. So,
Oh God.
Let's go back to
So-
talking about cat anuses.
So this is going. No, this conversation is happening between like Tromlin and patrons.
probably.
Perfect.
It's like, hey, can you cast purify food and drink on like human flesh? Well, you
Not
can cook
questioning
human
why
flesh.
they're
with it.
asking me that.
Yeah.
Like, why should be like, what's your fucking name? What's your fucking name?
What's your problem?
No, let me answer you.
It depends on which god I'm worshiping. But meanwhile, Fetid and Glorpa, you're heading down into the rock. So you're going through these tunnels, and as usual, you got to worry about these little fae that get underfoot down there. They're little blue brownies that build things with their magic.
What do they build?
They're constantly like digging out new tunnels and building little stone walls.
Lego sets.
Yeah,
cats.
they wear little yellow hard hats.
they
And
obsessed with
they're
radishes?
a variant of brownie. Well, they're a variant of brownies, so they're called bruisers. But meanwhile, I got a really good pained look from Jeff on that one. That was excellent.
Mhm.
But you're asking around after if anyone's heard about this whole bullywug situation, because you'll recall that reason you're going down here to talk to the trash heap is that there's been some raids by the swamp dwelling bullywugs who have been coming and attacking the dump on the edge of town.
Could you remind me? I can't remember if we had a discussion about what Glorpo would know about that because
Yeah,
I can't
yes,
think of
we did.
why.
So you know that the bullywugs are have always been out in the swamp, but they've always been kind of disorganized and not particularly a big deal, largely because of your presence in the swamp. So whenever they've kind of
Right.
gotten too big for their britches and started trying to like bully and assault other swamp dwellers, they've always run afoul of you, and you've been like, get out of here. Throw a little magic around, and then they scatter and go back to their small little squabbling ways. So this is like, I believe it was hypothesized at last game by Tromlin that this might be because you've been gone. That
Oops.
while you've been away, they're getting more organized, and now they're encroaching here. So
Should have gotten a babysitter. I'm sorry.
a bullywug sitter.
This must be the only beings that Glorpa hasn't tried to befriend either. That's very rare for her. So they must.
I imagine she has tried to befriend them. It's just that they're jerks. Like they don't go, hello, we are bullywugs and we want to live in your swamp, and you've been like, get out of here. It's been they've come after you with spears, going like, we run this swamp, get out of here, we rah. And we are the lords of all swamps, and you've been like, no, I live here.
I imagine they
small?
also
yeah.
do dickish things like they'll just wreck your flowers for no reason.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
that.
yeah, they'll try and they'll try and eat things that they can't actually eat. Have you ever seen like a frog try to eat something bigger than it is?
Yep.
It's just
In my
like
head
not.
now.
They have no idea what they're doing. Yeah, bullywugs do that. You'll often see a bullywug with like a fish like bigger than it is hanging out of the side of its mouth, and it's like going, I ate this, but eventually the fish kind of just thrashes really hard, and the bullywug goes flying, and that's the end of that. Except with fish, it's like with D&D monsters.
Mhm.
Like just a decapus is like hanging out of a bullywug's mouth for like a few minutes, and then the decapus gets bored. Okay, so yeah, so you're asking around your Quaggle buddies if anyone's heard anything, and a few of them will give you a little bit of info. First of all, they agree that you should go talk to the trash heap, and she'll know what to do. You know, she's the oracle. But you're also hearing like bits and pieces about, there's been some efforts to do something about it, to like, band together and fight them off when they've come in. They've been raiding at this point, so they'll come and they'll take good trash from the heap, or they'll get into like the food. The Quaggles live off of the largely. I mean, obviously when Tromlin's around, he's always feeding, the random Quaggle that comes along. But for the most part, the Quaggles get their food either from hunters like you going into the swamp and finding, things that you can bring back, or from the leavings of the town, people throwing garbage in the nuisance pile. And so the bullywugs have been coming in and raiding and taking all the good stuff. They've been coming in and getting all the actual organic, um, compostable things that are thrown on the pile that the Quaggles would normally eat, and running off with it back into the swamp. So the main effect is that either they've been, trying to get into the Quaggle tunnels themselves, into the sewerways and into the Quaggle Rock, and drive out Quaggles, or they've just been taking all the food, which of course potential starvation for the Quaggles.
Yeah.
So in both cases, not great news.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Quaggles are very, very worked up about this. And Ma and Pa Quaggle are very happy to see you, and very, yes, you'll help deal with this.
Yeah, I'm like acting super confident because I figure we'll just have Ugna crush a bunch of frog heads, and that will solve the problem.
You got these big friends now, yeah.
And if that turns out not to be the solution, I have no fucking idea what we're gonna do. At that point, I'll just come running to Tromlin.
I have a weird plan to pitch. Not with the bullywugs necessarily, but to like help reproteinize the Quaggles. If I can land that gig for Tromlin, like cooking a big feast for one of the nobles, but we design the menu to have lots of food with like secondary bits that get thrown away, like crusts, and like people don't eat the bones or the bone marrow. Like design it around food that always has leftovers, and then we get the rich people to pay for a feast for the Quaggles, and Tromlin gets paid.
I love this.
There is historical preference, like historical precedent for that, because look at the shit rich people ate through history.
Yep. Peacock tongues.
Yep.
Lark eyes, weird fucking shit like that.
Can I? This is something from my thesis that I never get to talk about because my thesis is so irrelevant to everything in my life. Can I have 2 minutes?
Totally.
Okay, so I studied forestry law in the medieval forestry law in England, and the way that sort of is played off of in the Robin Hood poems that are extant from that time. So like bandit lore and bandit outlaw poems, and Robin Hood in particular. And how it's this kind of pushback against forest law and the whole King Arthur's court style of thinking about the forest as like private game land for the king. Anyway, there's all these weird court records of people finding like dead deer in the woods that just died of no reason. And I was trying to figure out like why. And then I was reading other bits where it talks about if something dies in the forest and it's the king's forest, the peasants can't claim it, but they would just give it to the local leper colony or local like sick area, just as like because we don't want to no one's allowed to eat it because we don't want to incentivize game hunting on the king's land, but we don't want it to go to waste, so it'll be a charity thing. And I think that people were intentionally killing deer so that the deer venison would make it to these impoverished places that people could eat, because there's just like a weird number of deer being found dead, like a lot in the records. So that's my weird little theory.
Cool.
And that
That's
is
awesome.
now my master's thesis was worth writing. Literally in this stream now, more people have experienced the publishing of my master's thesis than read it as a published document. that is how useless grad
the
school
nature
is.
of a thesis. You got to turn that into a publication. That's the thing. You do your thesis, and then you get
this
the
stream
work
is
published.
now
Otherwise,
Tchaikovsky et al.
Yeah.
There we go. That's it. Let's get this accepted as a valid type of academic publishing.
You've been cited.
Twitch streaming.
Get with the times,
Twitch
people.
ranting.
Yeah.
Right. Excellent.
Okay.
So yeah, you make your way through the tunnels down into the harder to get into parts of Quaggle Rock that require some squeezing and squishing, and Glorpa actually has to probably do a wild shape to turn into something that can get through these tiny tunnels.
Yep.
This is the way in which the
Salamander.
Quaggles ensure they're never driven out because the big folks can't get in.
God help us if they ever train ferrets. We're so screwed.
Oh, God.
Well, they've got people. That's what you're for, right? To
Yeah.
shoot. I'm sure there have been efforts of that nature.
I mean, they tried, but then we ate all of their ferrets, and
Well, you're down there with a bow and arrow, going "Hey, they're sending food down to us."
free lunch.
But at the heart of the rock, it basically is right underneath the castle, and there's all these connections to the actual castle dungeons. And there is a natural cavern that was probably at one time connected to the dungeons, like an actual stairwell of some sort led to it. Because there's all these shafts that have been built from it up into the castle, and now no one can actually get on a stair and walk down into this cavern, but they throw tons of garbage from the castle down in through these garbage chutes, and they end up in this cavern that none of the big folk can get into. And at the center of this cavern, this massive pile of garbage, of trash, largely, it's like broken, disused items and things get thrown down here. Not so much like food waste that's going to rot and stink up the castle above, but I'm sure a certain amount of that happens too, because it's that whole medieval setting kind of thing where people are like, throw the garbage down here and then you can forget all about it. Why does it stink in my house later? Oh, well, I guess I just put up with it. And in the center of this cavern is the sleeping place of an intelligent earth elemental, or more to the point, like compost elemental, junk elemental, known as the trash heap. And so, Glorpa, you're what did you say you were turning into? A salamander?
Yeah, Glallamander is now who I am, I guess.
Excellent. So you're like a giant salamander draped around, fetid, like a slimy.
Oh, look at Mink.
Boa. Nice.
Slimy boa. And I want to remind you, Jeff, that Fetid has been having a lot of trouble getting through the tunnels because your hands and feet are so outsized, cartoonishly swollen from your last encounter with the magic beans. But as soon as you find your way through the last crevice, put your comically oversized hands through and pull yourself, and your pink salamander boa, or green if you want to stick with your usual color scheme. You actually let out just an enormous hiccup as you sort of tumble from the crevice down to the base of the trash heap. And when you do so, a bunch of pink bubbles go flying out again.
Nice.
And this time, your hands and feet basically deflate. There's like a balloon fart noise as your appendages return to normal size.
That wasn't the appendages. That was something else.
Yeah, I mean that came from somewhere in you. But with a second hiccup instead, just colossal amounts of blue hair come just shooting out of all of the places where mammals tend to have hair. You have
what puberty is like.
Yeah, you have a moment of utter disgust being like suddenly covered in hair and fur like a mammal.
Mm-hmm.
The
And it's
worst.
not a thing you've experienced before. And it's like almost a cousin it situation. You've got like a little part here that you can kind of stick your snout through and see.
That works.
Looks good on you.
I'm gonna give myself like a dramatic side swoop.
Just
Pull
comb
it
it over.
and like drape your head in that side. I
Yeah.
guess this side. I'll do this side so I can do it.
Like a comb over.
The sad flower dance.
Oh.
And you just turn this way after a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you dance to like 80s goth music.
That's also the weird kung fu swatting flies thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The light bulb.
That was the how many ravers does it take to change a light bulb? Just one. But it takes
also-
forever. Anyway.
And you need the one guy in the net shirt who's doing his actual martial arts poses in
Yes.
the corner.
Yep.
With electrical tape over his nipples.
To every fucking song.
Mm-hmm.
It does not matter the
Nope.
speed or whatever. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to flashbacks because I know that guy. Everybody knows that guy.
Teeny or flashbacks. Oh god, the church, the golf club in Dallas.
So as you have this like last loud hiccup and more like pink bubbles, basically every time you open your mouth for a while, pink bubbles are coming out. And you've got this like mop of blue hair, because you got to have blue hair. Glorpa, you're like, what in the hell is going on? Like looking at your little salamander face at Fetid, and then you both hear this chorus voice, two simultaneous voices from different spots in the trash heap speaking in unison, as two little ratkin with long snouts poke their heads up out of the garbage, and say, you're in the presence of the all-knowing, all-seeing trash heap. Meh.
Oh, Redditors.
Probably what they do a lot of down here.
It didn't start with actually, but sounded like it.
Actually,
wait
we
until
don't
they
say
find out
actually.
you're female, and then
They look at Google.
Adjusted.
Female.
oh,
They adjust their trilbies.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good,
So
good.
yeah, I'll be like, hi, it's me. Despite all the fur, it's Fetid, and we would like to speak to the trash heap and not you two, if at all possible.
Yeah, and you know these two. These are the sort of self-appointed guardians of the trash heap.
No, I know them, and I cannot stand them. They suck.
Their names are Philo and Gunge.
Mm-hmm.
And they sort of bristle at that, and like sort of like they both got their little kind of trash spears that they sort of like look at each other. But as soon as they do so, the pile shifts, and this entire gigantic pile of garbage begins to kind of like shift and rise up into this vaguely humanoid shape, and waves a hand and brushes the ratkin, sort of like gestures for them to step aside. And the other hand brings up a huge pair of half-moon spectacles on a stem and puts them up to its eyes so it can look at you.
Sorry, my cat's about to puke. I'm gonna catch it.
I don't know. You're
Very
gonna
appropriate
catch
for
the
where we
puke?
are. Oh god. Oh,
Just
oh
with
no.
your
Oh,
hands.
come on, it's my bed. I just came off the sheets.
No.
Oh god. Oh no. Oh god. It's everywhere.
Oh,
I'm attached to
no.
this. I'll be right back.
Oh no!
Oh, go. Oh, come on. Oh.
The joys of
Oh.
Oh
So
no!
you're the trash heap experience at this point.
I'm glad I
man.
was in another window looking at the art Lar drew for us and not whatever.
How about I?
just a
Yeah.
Oh, we
I'll
got
really
some
switch
Lar
over to
art.
some Lar art here.
Cut to the art.
Let's go
It's
to some
Lart.
art.
Lart.
Everybody likes to
It's-
see some Lart.
You know.
I
It's
literally
great.
switched over right when I heard Danielle freaking out. I'm like, I'm not switching back. I'm
Nope.
just gonna keep looking.
Nothing
Nope.
good is happening over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's definitely
no.
nothing good.
I've got a toddler. I see enough disgusting shit all day long.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh,
That's
that
an
great?
amazing piece.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that pony is so stinky.
It's the stinkiest pony. I was gonna say I don't know where in England the Stargazy pie comes from. But I feel like it's probably the north.
Probably.
And I would absolutely love to hear like that My Little Pony character with like just the thickest Yorkshire accent. Oh,
Cornwall.
Metagiki says it's Cornwall, so it's the opposite.
Ah.
But I could. So it's a
Cornwall
West
accent
Country
still
thing.
pretty-
It's
yeah.
going to be like a Hagrid
Yep.
Hagrid
Hagrid pony.
voice.
I just want to see a bunch of My Little Ponies based off the worst UK meals. Like,
Yep.
here's Haggis Heart.
But with those regional accents, right? Like I want this to
Hell
be
yes.
voiced by Robbie Coltrane. I want to hear this character.
I know a very funny webcomic
It's
artist
a
from
proper
Cornwall.
job.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so if
What's
you
that?
want if you want a webcomic artist from Cornwall as a guest, I can bring Charlie.
Just to play this character. Oh yeah, it's Stargazy Pie. It's a centaur with a fish head. It's a new thing.
On the Wikipedia entry for Stargazy
Murtar?
Pie, there's a
Murtar?
photo just captioned, "The Pilchards must retain their heads." Like as a
Pilchards
statement,
must retain their heads. Is
That's the
it?
entire caption of this
Good.
photo.
Good.
Nice.
Wow,
No further context asked or given.
What more do you need?
Right?
that is amazing.
Is it wrong I now want a My Little Pony character voiced by the one Gallagher brother that no one understands?
Excellent. Where are the Gallagher brothers from? Are they?
Oasis?
Hell.
Yeah, no, I meant like where?
Oh.
What's the
Oh, I know.
accent?
The eighth circle of hell. I don't know.
I vaguely thought that they were Geordies, but maybe I'm completely wrong.
I can't remember.
They're
I'm
trash
not up on my
fires.
Oasis lore.
The Geordie accent is a really, really tough one for some people to handle. Although anyone who's ever watched the comedian Ross Noble may
so
have heard
good.
the best phrase ever stated with a Geordie accent, which was in a discussion about chocolate bars and having like a rounded triangle that is basically. He said, I believe the phrase was like a Toblerone triangle. Or no,
combo.
Combo, that was it.
Combo.
Toblerone combo.
God.
That's a hell of a, yeah.
To be fair, that's how that sounds.
Yep.
That's accurate.
Is that how the voices, the Gallagher brothers sound?
Oh, I don't know. I just feel like anybody saying that would sound about like that.
Yeah.
Not as fun.
That definitely doesn't sound like other things.
All right. So, in any case, it looks like the Gallagher
Back to
brothers
the
are
map.
from Manchester, which is also a pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
That's a Scouser kind of, almost Scouser. That's a tangential to Scouser kind of accent. All right. Why don't we switch back off the map?
Already done. Oh, just regular.
Yeah, just regular.
Also, there was a mention of Flying Jacob now in the chat, and Flying Jacob.
Flying Jacob is so freaking
So
weird.
I don't want to know.
I mean, it's not like disgusting. I mean, it's kind of, but it's just a weird thing. It's like a kid's meal, like wieners and beans. It's like that kind of thing, but Swedish. It's basically chicken and bananas and peanuts with savory whipped cream. With like you make a whipped cream with no sugar, but you put in chili sauce instead.
I'd try that.
And then you
Right.
mix it all together and you bake it so that the whipped cream browns on top.
It doesn't sound disgusting, but
try
it's like,
that.
how did you come up with this?
Yeah, it's not really gross. It's just
Grade
like,
lunch
why?
at
How?
school.
Yeah.
That's the only
Who
answer.
did this?
I would try it, but then again, I grew up eating chitlins.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I like chitlins though.
They taste like
I like
nuggets.
Southern food.
Yeah.
So the Madam Trash Heap is going to turn and look at you through her half moon glasses, like with a bit of a scowl for a moment, and you just sort of like pull the hair more out of your face, and she says, young fathead,
That's me.
what brings you to consult the great all-knowing Trash Heap?
Well, we heard that there have been some incursions by super shitty asshole frogmen.
Ah, yes, the frog people. I foresaw that the frog people would come. She adjusts the banana peel out the cuff, covers her face.
Mm-hmm. Do you know why they have started hassling us?
Yes. A power has accrued to them. They have found a source of might in the swamps,
Hmm.
and it has given them the courage to band together.
Swamp Mite. Okay. Do you know anything more about this source of power?
Only that I foresee you and your friends must do battle with these creatures, but I see that you will overcome.
I'm gonna try very hard not to roll my eyes at that amazing bit of prognostication from Trash Grandma here.
I mean,
she's
a
battle,
trash
really?
seer.
You
She's
think?
literally a
Okay.
trash seer.
Okay, so we
I
might
mean-
have to do some fighting. All right.
Now, if we lose, we make her a liar.
Yeah, just throw the fight.
Can I roll something to guess what that source of power could be?
I mean,
Or would I know?
you have your own ability to have visions, so you could attempt to coax one of those out. So you have substance use abilities. You could dig into that satchel of alchemy and pull out something that you could maybe burn,
Oh.
inhale a little bit, and maybe
That-
Some
that'll
like good
give you
swamp weed.
some good. Yeah, you
That
got. I'm pretty
good
sure you got
swamp
some
weed.
good swamp weed.
Is
Is
it
Glorbo
frowned
gonna do a
upon to do
bump?
this? What's that?
Is
I mean,
Glorbo
you're
gonna do
in
a
a
bump
trash
off the
heap.
like
We're gonna bump off the
putting
trash
some
heap.
powder on the trash heaps? Just do it like
No, you can't. You can't. It's like how they put baking soda on the top of toilet seats at bars, so you can't do cocaine off of them.
look. Somewhere in that trash heap is a mirror.
No, I mean, if anyone would know, it's me, and there is no mirror that functions as a mirror in this trash
This is
heap.
the least family-friendly episode we've done. I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's not necessarily true. Neither you nor Glorpa has tried to have sex with anyone
That's
yet.
true. Yet.
All my sex was off camera.
Well,
Mine was all on camera.
But we know, Fern fucker. We know.
Fucker.
I whispered to Fetid, hey, I want to have a vision. Is that cool to do here, or should we go outside?
no, you can have visions wherever. I mean, it's a trash heap. As long as you're not actively murdering anybody, I don't think most people are going to care what you get up to.
This is a place of great magic. I have many visions.
Mhm, she does, and she never stops talking about them. Do you know do you have any insight as to where we should go to try and figure out where these stupid frogs are coming from? I mean, obviously,
Sorry, you're asking
I'm
you're
a
asking
genius
the trash heap?
tracker, I'll be able to figure it out. Yeah, I'm asking Trash Grandma if
I
she
thought
knows.
you were asking Glorpa to have a vision, but
No, I'll be much more polite to Glorpa.
yeah, Trash Grandma will so while Glorpa is sort of going surreptitiously or not so surreptitiously getting out the swamp weed, your Trash Grandma will she's holding her stemmed glasses, but she'll take them away from her eyes and put her wrist to her forehead and reach out in the classic I am having a vision stance. I hadn't decided this before, but the interaction in this scene, it is now entirely, definitely canon that she's always been. It's always kind of bullshit. Like when they send Quaggles down to speak to the Oracle, and she'll pull out some moth-eaten cards and do a reading, or have a tea set up and like look at the cup and be like, well, I see that you're going to meet a stranger. And
Don't drink it. It's always
that kind of
compost
stuff.
tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like she's
It's usually just coffee
right
grounds.
more often than not, so we all just kind of like we grit our teeth and bear with it. It's like, it's like talking to any older person who's maybe not all there in the head anymore.
She says, I see it will be you who follows them. I see you laying a trap at the garbage dump, and I see you following those who come to your bait back into the swamps.
Mm-hmm. There's
I
one
see
thing
you
I am,
with
it's a
large
masturbator.
friends. Oh, a very large one.
She's just like looking out the window now.
There's no windows down here, right? She's like,
Well,
Oh my
she
God,
yeah, it's
all
like Una's like pressed up against some kind of glass. Like,
what you
Hi
doing?
guys.
Like,
Why is there
okay,
powder all over this glass?
yeah.
but then she'll say, "What is this? I also see you on a journey over the sea. I see you. I see you vomiting violently from the side of a ship,
Oh, cool. I'm gonna get boat sick.
and I see you. I see you in the dragon's isles, the teeth of the world's serpent. I see you meeting others of your kind, other kobold quaggles, worshippers of the trash dragon."
I'm checking to see whether
Ooh.
Glorpa's weed has been lit up at this point, or whether she's actually. 'Cause it
It
sounds
has.
like she's channeling a Rush album, and
Yeah, you don't know. Like there's like smoke coming out of, and like there's a haze around Glorpa
yeah,
now,
that's
and
what I
maybe
thought.
that's affecting the trash
Okay.
heap.
You're like, all right, well that's super interesting, Grandma. Thank you so much.
Yes, you will
I
find great magics there. Now,
hmm,
is there anything else you want to know, dearie? She peers at you again through her half moons.
trying to think if there's anything else I want to ask her about. Glorpa, any ideas?
What?
Oh, Glorpa is
Yeah.
like completely
Yeah, I know.
zoned, and like the eyes are rolled back, and
Yeah,
like
I know.
you're not sure Glorpa's aware of your presence at all right now.
Yeah,
Not
all
usually
right.
anyway,
She's
but-
Just
she's
vibing.
chilling.
Just vibing.
And that leads me, I think, to a good point to take up the poll that we just had, because the poll was about the subject of Glorpa's next vision.
All right, there we go.
So a perfect transition as Glorpa has another vision. So in your vision, Glorpa, you see your swamps. You see yourself in the swamp. You're trying to direct this vision because you want to know more about the bullywugs. And you see yourself sitting like as you are now, but instead of in a cloud of like swamp weed haze, you're sitting in a cloud of flies and swamp gases. Some of which might be from yourself, and some of which might be from the swamp. In the middle of the swamp, and you can sense movements in the shadows in the trees around, and you know that it's the bullywugs, and they're moving in significant numbers around in the swamp. But then as you're trying to sort of focus more on the bullywugs and kind of go, what are they doing? What's happening? You do get the feeling that something large is out there. Something could be just a really big frog, but there's something in the shadows that you can't quite make out. But you can tell that it's with the bullywugs, and they're all very excitedly chanting about it. But then you're distracted by a loud simultaneous sneeze and fart from behind you, and you turn to see one of your old friends, one of the green swamp hags, who occasionally deigns to come above the surface enough to have a chat with you, and frequently you have tea together. And by tea, I mean probably swampweed.
Yeah. Cool.
She
What
says
happens?
to you,
Oh.
she says to you, beware, beware. And, that's all you get out of her for a few moments.
God damn it.
As I pull up my notes. Here we go. And she says, the night is coming, the blood night moon. Beware those bearing the mark of the red.
All right, you just
Not
broke
trust.
The
Do
mark
not
of the red.
trust any stranger who will not show you their eyes.
Ooh. You said beware the red. I didn't catch the last one.
Those bearing, or beware the mark of the red hand, or those bearing the mark of the red hand. You mentioned the blood knife moon, and she mentioned don't trust a stranger who won't show you their eyes.
Ooh.
And then she finishes by saying, I'm just trying to decide how to word the last one. It will come after. Trying to decide how to put it. I think she's going to say, he will be the harbinger. That's how I'll put it.
Somewhat useful, thank you.
And that's the end of it. And I can reveal that the poll selected as what will Glorpa's next vision be about. They selected the option, a cryptic, creepy warning.
Good.
That's perfect.
Good.
Exactly what you've gotten.
Thanks, chat.
And then the swamp hag disappears in a big puff of like acrid green smoke, and you like cough a bit, wave your hand, and then you're actually sitting there with the trash heap with Fetid, and the green smoke is the haze coming from your giant home rolled doobie. You've like basically taken just a fistful of swamp weed and you've like twisted it in a leaf to make like just a giant
blunt.
cigar blunt.
How I roll.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
I'm
cool.
more surprised Glorpa doesn't roll it in human flesh because you can fuck that leaf.
I mean, I can fuck that human flesh too. It's new to me.
The leaf is a gift after the fucking, right? The leaf is like
my
a souvenir.
God. If you find
Ooh.
anyone who is half plant, half human,
Oh man.
half,
It's
We're
over.
getting married.
That's
Oh,
when
yeah. Hell
Glorpa's
yeah.
going to settle
Against their
down.
will. So, she's not going to consent. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with me.
Right. So Fetid, as you're trying to ask Glorpa what's going on, and you're like, okay, that's I don't know what else to ask.
She's
Suddenly she'll explode in coughing and emerge from the cloud of green haze.
As a salamander still, right?
Yes.
I'm in there. All right, cool. Can I ask your grandma friend here, your grandma, some questions? Oh, wait, she's right there. She's here to me. Cool.
Yeah.
I got some words. Can you tell me if you know anything about them? I heard. Unless I know about these other- Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. You know everything. Sure. Blood Knife Moon. You familiar with that term?
Yes.
They're doing. Sorry, the ghost tour is walking by. My window's open. She's got a megaphone today.
Nice.
You know what that is? What does that mean?
Who is what?
Someone has a megaphone. We have a ghost tour that goes through town, and she's got a megaphone.
A ghost
tonight,
tour.
So forgive me if you.
Fairway the ghosts.
Gotcha. No, we can't hear it.
Oh, good. Okay. So Blood Knife Moon. Yeah, is that something you're familiar with?
And so she said yes, and that's all she said.
That's all she said. Cool. No more information than that.
Yes, she knows of it.
Is that coming soon? Do you get that like on the calendar? Is everybody gonna have their period at the same time?
It's a grave portent.
What does that even mean? A grave? Right. Portent. Cool. I'll write that down.
It begets trouble and conflict.
Very specific.
Ooh, spooky.
Do you have a calendar, Grandma? Is it written on there? You know, one of those
Yeah, you're
calendars
like,
has the moon shit on it.
Fetty's like, calendars aren't really a thing down here.
I mean, they are for everybody else, but Grandma is.
Grandma doesn't leave this cavern, and there's no windows or natural light here.
She hasn't seen the sun in ever, so.
Plus, we only get the gag-a-day calendars after someone's ripped out all the pages and they're not
Yeah.
in order. So.
Yeah.
Last
I mean,
year's. Yeah.
She has every Far Side ever memorized, but
A few of the
not so good
Dilberts.
with the dates.
Yeah, when she says that she can see the far side, she really just means that she's stapled together all the loose pages.
Yeah, no, we use the Dilbert ones as toilet paper.
The good old Egyptian Dilbert.
Respect your asses more than that, my friend.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna hold my questions for somebody who doesn't know everything.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't want to like tire her out.
Yeah.
Prophecy must be very draining.
I'm sure your time is very precious.
Yeah.
You mentioned the word tired, so as you continue talking back and forth, trying to make your excuses for leave, you realize that she's kind of settling, like the pile is settling a bit, and she's sort of like, all knowing. Yeah.
Hey, you want to
At which point, Philo and Gunge will come forward and say, and brandish their spears and say, "It is time for you to leave the all-knowing trash heap.
Is there a small
You've
rock
had your time."
or a can or something throwable that would be
Oh yeah,
like
there's so much junk here.
All right, I want to throw something at one of them.
Yeah, make a hit roll. I'll make a duck.
Yeah.
He's gonna try and duck it.
You have enough levels. I think you could kill one of these people.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to kill him. This is
I'm assuming this is subdual.
Yeah. Oh, I only rolled a
Bonk him
3.
on the
I
head.
didn't do very well.
Okay, he ducks it and then he does like a "Nyeh" at you and then hides behind some trash. The other one sort of does this with his spear from across the room at you. Yeah. Go on. Beat it.
Take a gust of wind out of my butt, Adam.
Yeah, as you go out through the cavern, through the exit, you sort of the back end of the. It's like if you've seen Mystery Men, when
oh yeah.
Whenever
the spleen.
I want to say Pee Wee Herman, but I forget the actor's name. Paul
Rubens. Yeah,
Paul Rubens. Whenever Paul Rubens lets a fart go in Mystery Men, his coattails did this. They had a very very clever air device hooked up. With some seriously cheap special effects in that movie.
It's so good.
Before its time. That film was before its time.
Oh yeah.
If they had done it now, and maybe with a little bit more specifically Marvel spoofing, it would have been a colossal success. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I feel like that actually was a little bit more informative than I was expecting from.
Honestly,
Grandma.
more than usual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
So while this is going on, Tromlin, back up in the I was going to say food court, more or less.
That's great. It's the trash heap is a mall.
Good.
I love it.
I'm next
Back
to
up in the
the
marketplace.
It's an abandoned mall that people live in now.
Yeah, the blue brothers drive by.
It'd be great.
We're straddling the line between fantasy and dystopia near future.
So while you're up there, so there's that initial rush of people who are like, "Oh, hey, that Satyrs food cart is running on the south side," and they all start coming and word spreading that there are these funky fish pies, and people after that initial rush, it peters off to a more normal rate of patronage, and at one point you're the Quaggles are off at their little open air cafe, and you're a ways away, sort of keeping an eye on the tunnel that Fetid and Glorpa went through. And as you're sort of hanging out, looking around, you notice near the edge of the castle. Actually, why don't you bring the map back up again, Lena?
Sure. Let's get that going. Yep. We're back.
Okay, I am going to click on the map. So in this general area here, I'm clicking to make my little circles appear.
Yeah.
This is the center on number 10 where the actual Quaggle Rock is. And Tromlin's a little further off to the east side here, closer to the Mudhollow, where, the usual crowds are going to be available. So you notice further out towards the edge of the castle, so in this general region over here, and I'll put some circles over there instead. Yeah. And in fact, I'm going to draw
Ooh.
a little X there. I put a little X on there.
That's where the body is.
That's where what is?
Nothing.
Oh, a joke I missed. So that around that corner, sort of peeking around the corner at the assembled Quaggles, you notice the wolf-like face of the sheriff, and then he peers around the corner, and then the I think I said he was a half ogre, but the big burly deputy peers around the corner just like above him, like in a cartoon. There's nowhere to stand. Both people peek around at the same,
Can
but at different
I
heights.
attempt to distract the sheriff and his deputy?
You certainly can. You're not sure what he's up to at this point. They just peeked around the corner and are checking out the Quaggles.
Because the Quaggles aren't doing anything
at the
worthy
cafe.
of being arrested, are they? Like they're not.
Not that you know, but you've heard about the sort of persecution of the Quaggles, but like there have been attempts by the town guard to like push the Quaggles out. So a couple that you specifically know about, they tried to build a fence around the garbage dump. They tried to basically build like a defensive, like barbed wire kind of situation around the garbage dump. That was a complete fiasco because, of course, the Quaggles have all their tunnels all through the place, and so basically the Quaggles would all pop up on whichever side of the fence the guards weren't, and the guards would all like try to get at them, but there'd be a fence in the way, and they'd all get caught up in the wire, and then the next rush they'd see the Quaggles on the other side of the fence, and then they go after. It's just ludicrous, ridiculous. And then there was an attempt to flood. There was an attempt to flood out from the sewerways. But of course, the sewers. But there's no sort of like regular maintenance of the sewerways. So like the town people that run, that live here, they had no idea what's connected where. So they like diverted part of the river and all this water flooding into the sewerways, and it just ended up like flooding like parts of the dungeon under the castle. Because of course the Quaggles know where all the Quaggles basically redirected all the water, and and it like shot up out of the chamber, whatever the toilets are, basically comedically backfired.
Drown the Quaggles.
Oh, yeah, if they could drown out the Quaggles, they would for sure.
Okay, so I don't like the sheriff or his deputy.
No, you don't like that they see the sort of like the aristocracy sees Quaggles are like the little undesirable like pests. It's like cockroaches. You gotta try and exterminate them.
So I'm gonna summon my familiar. I'm gonna stoop down so no one can see me.
Yep.
Summon my familiar. Like, all right, get behind them. Don't be seen. I need to know what they're doing. If they move towards the Quaggles, undo their belts so their pants fall on the trip.
Nice.
Classic.
Good.
You can control things to a greater extent because, as you wish, once you've sent your little monkey familiar out there, you can certainly look through his eyes and
I can cast spells for him too, can't I?
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Never mind. Just go watch.
Just go take a look. Okay, so he comes around there and sees that actually behind the wall, around the corner, there is actually a group of about a dozen soldiers, not just the sheriff and his deputy, and the soldiers have a wagon full of what looks like just split firewood and like some brush, like dry brush.
Oh! So they're going to do something bad.
Seems plausible.
Smoke them out.
Like, that's what. Hold on. I need to double check something. I'm not happy.
I think any touch spell you can cast through your familiar. So.
Yeah. Well, hold on. I need to look at a very specific spell. It's a cantrip. I think I have it. Like I'm not wonkier in 5th edition than other ones.
Hang on, I'm pulling up your character sheet. Remember, you have new cantrips now too. Which one?
Oh yeah, what cantrips do I have? I don't think I. Please tell me I took this. Please. 0 level. I didn't take the one I needed, which would be ignite.
Isn't that always the way?
No.
Wait.
You have a lot.
So,
You do have minor illusion if it's something visual.
Oh, so I can make it look like there's a fire starting.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Minor illusion on the cart, a fire starting in the dry brush.
Just double checking. Can you cast spells that have more than a touch range with your familiar?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, it's a minor enough thing that I would allow it with like spending like a inspiration or something minor like that. Let's
I'm
see
double checking
here.
right now. Cast spells through familiar.
Yeah, it has to be a range of touch.
Yeah.
But I would be happy to let you do minor illusion in this way using if you are happy to spend one of your inspirations.
Yes.
Can you just? Oh, wait, you can't see around the corner, right?
Yeah.
I can see around the corner because my familiar's there.
Mm-hmm.
No, but that's the point is you're not close enough to cast the minor
normal way.
illusion without going over there.
Yeah. So cast it so that let me double check all my spells. I didn't choose my spells for the day, so I still have the spells from last time. Oh well. Yay, cleric stuff. Like clerics have to choose their spells at the start of your day, right? It's not like sorcerers. Yeah, it's like.
Yep.
Okay.
Some of them have spells that they can swap in. Like I think you can always swap in a healing spell.
It's a previous edition, but it's actually not a bad idea.
It would make sense. It's one of those things that why'd you get rid of that? The only other thing I can think of that might work, but I don't know how I do this and not get caught, is Misty stepping over there, sneaking over, starting a fight, throwing a match in there, and Misty stepping back.
I mean, you are an arcane trickster.
You can. I would let you. So still, if you're spending a point to cast a non-touch spell, then you can definitely cast any of these cantrips. And with prestidigitation, you can like light a fire.
Because I would rather do that. I want to actually destroy this fucking cart so it cannot be used. Because there's no reason they're like not. If they're watching them, there's a good chance they're either thinking about putting them in this cage or smoking them out of their homes with it. Because Quaggle Rock's right here.
Yeah, the second seems pretty likely. Like that they're considering, and in fact, as you're watching through the monkey, you will see that some of these guards are in the process of taking firewood and brush from the pile in the wagon, and where there are little sort of holes in the ground or other kinds of little burrows near the castle walls, they're building little campfire type setups. And you can see, looking further down the wall, they've already done this back down along the castle walls.
Okay, so doing this would basically give the Quaggles a heads up, because hopefully they'll be freaking out if their wagon's on fire, and then they can hopefully then go forth and try to remove all this shit.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's at this point from your vantage with the monkey, it's pretty clear to you what they're doing. They're trying to set fires at all of the kind of known entrances, so they can smoke them out to a particular. Basically, you could do the same thing you could do with like gophers, and get them all running out of their burrow at the same area.
Yeah,
and then clearly they intend to like be waiting there with this gang of soldiers.
Wait, I have another idea. Before we go any further on this, I'll still need to probably cast the spell. Is there any rope in the immediate vicinity?
Yeah, all around, sure. Like you're at the edge of the marketplace. You probably just have some with you.
Well, no. Is there something that my monkey can get to real fast?
I mean, it depends on what you mean by fast. If like your monkey can come back to you, and
Okay,
you can like equip it with whatever you want, and then send it back out there.
Is there any like rope with like the soldiers for all the stuff they're doing? Like to
Sure,
bundle up?
something.
Is it possible for my monkey before he does a prestidigitation to tie the sheriff's leg to the cart?
Nice.
Doable, but then some rolls are going to be necessary here because doing it without being spotted is the real issue. Let's start. What's
try
that?
it. Let's try it.
Give it a shot?
How many inspiration do I have total right now?
Just the one.
Right? Fuck. That means I don't get a reroll.
Nope. So give me a.
Worth it. I'm gonna try it.
Give me a stealth roll first of all. This is on your. I'm just going to pull up your monkey's stat block because I have it here on my desktop.
Does he have my stealth or his own?
Enables phrases.
He has his own stats. He has his own stats, but he's actually pretty decent. Stealth is actually his best.
He's a monkey, so I would hope.
Yeah.
Where's
his proficiency bonus? So yeah, this will be a +6.
Not as good as mine, sadly. 18.
Ooh.
Total.
Pretty good. Let me see if he gets noticed.
Does he get any bonuses for all the activity going on in the loud market?
Well, I'm not giving them any kind of bonuses.
Penalties.
No one seems to be noticing as your monkey creeps up with the rope. So the next thing is effectively, I think I'm going to treat this as a sleight of hand.
Okay.
Because you want to be able to do this. Like this is basically you're tying the rope around his leg without him noticing. So it's basically like sleight of hand. Sleight of hand is also a +6 for your monkey.
Ooh, that's much better. That'd be
Which is actually the same as yours.
Ooh.
Excellent. All right, let me see. I'm only going to give him a roll on this one. Ooh, I rolled very well, but his perception is not enough to make that a 23. I rolled an 18, but he does not have that much perception.
All right. Then I'm going to use that point to prestidigitation of fire and dismiss my monkey immediately.
Hey. So, fire in the so you can go ahead and mark off that inspiration, Lena.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
I realized I spent an inspiration to save NPCs that will never help us.
Fine.
But I don't give a shit.
That's fine.
It makes total sense.
Fine.
Fuck the sheriff.
Yep.
Character development.
Lena, I've seen some more cheering in the chat, and I'm not seeing the update on the counter.
Right. I'll look into it.
Yeah, I wish we might get a different one because I don't think that one is very good. It was at 62.75 before, and it still is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so so basically this is like just striking a flint and steel, making sparks to start a fire. So it takes a minute as they continue bustling around, and they're setting firewood up and putting the brush on it. Poppers. And
it suddenly updated.
Oh, did it?
Oh, that's because we just got like 1,000 bits. Wow. Thanks, Probable Futures. Holy smokes.
Oh, I see. So it's cheers specifically.
Yeah.
Because I see that the other one was a pride bits, but that's weird.
No, that's a cheer.
It should be.
That's all cheers. I don't know why the first two didn't register.
Or maybe they did. It just took went up all at once. What would 1,000 would? No, 1,000 would be the 50 to make that 112.
Right. I'm going to give us all an extra
so that's
inspiration
exactly correct.
because that rolled over.
Yeah. So The only one who doesn't get one is Glorpa because you were already full. This is why you got to spend them, guys.
No, I gotta give them to y'all.
Yep. It's all good. Subscriptions, I don't think affect the cheers. I think that's just the
I
polls.
need to find a better.
Just someone asked in the
tracker than
chat,
this.
so I was just mentioning that.
Mm.
I've only been told about the subscription bonus affecting polls, not cheers. Yeah, so anyway, so after like a few moments as that fire builds in the brush pile, that clearly the brush is their tinder, and that's where you've struck a spark into magically, that starts to like just smoke and smolder, and as soon as it starts to blaze, sorry, it's a very happy doggy.
Aw.
As soon as it starts to blaze a little bit, one of the soldiers is going to, bark out a warning. It's like, it's fire! At which the sheriff, without turning to look, is still like at the edge of the castle, peeking and peering at the Quaggles. Does like a, well, of course there's a fire. We're gonna smoke out all these Quaggles. And the guards are like, no, there's a fire here in the wagon, and they all start like pulling off cloaks and like flapping them at the brush, kicking the brush away from the rest of the brush onto the ground and stomping at it. And
If only
there's
there was a horse attached.
a general pandemonium begins. So what do you want to do now?
Mission accomplished.
I will attempt to get the attention of a Quaggle while this.
Yeah, you're right. You're basically on the other side of the rock from their little cafe, their little Ma and Pa Quaggles Vittles hut or whatever they call it.
Garbage
I assume that some of the Quaggles are thieves.
Most.
I mean, that's just racist. No,
it's not.
And accurate.
So I can speak to them, can't basically.
Yep.
I will tell the Quaggles like the sheriff. Say to them and it can't. The sheriff and his men are trying to smoke out your tunnels. They've loaded them with wood. I bought you some time, but you need to take care of it. You
kind of get over and like catch Ma Quaggle's attention from behind the counter.
Like I basically going over and I'm bringing a bowl of food. Like, oh hey, yeah. Just so you know, though. Like if I have to do a performance check, that's fine. I just want to make sure.
Oh, no, you're really good at that. I'm just going to let that go. But Ma Quaggle clearly understands you. So like many of the Quaggles around you are like, what's this weird noises and gestures that you're doing? And double speak. I've always sort of interpreted thieves' cant as largely being double speak, like it's like rhyming slang. Like it's still common, but it's not. But it's actually got its own.
I always imagine it being a mix of rhyming slang and carny.
And like and like exactly, and like gestures that go with like the car. Like when I say this and I tug my collar, it means this instead of this, right?
Yeah, it's not just a spoken language; it's a gesture language too.
Yeah. But so like you get blank stares from a lot of the. I'm trying to remember what the Cockney rhyming slang for the cops is. There's definitely a common one for that, and I don't remember what it is. All I can remember is like apples and pears for going upstairs. And a monkeys. I don't know what that one is. When someone says I couldn't give a monkeys, I know that's a rhyming slang thing, but I don't know what it means.
Anyway, I just want to make sure that they know so they can go take care of the problem.
You clearly notice the recognition, that momentary recognition in Ma Quaggle's eyes that you get with a Thieves Guild member, that quickly goes away because nobody wants to give away that they're. And then she goes, well, thank you very much, hon, and takes the big bowl of stew and passes it over to some of the other Quaggles, and then like grabs Pa Quaggle and like rushes into the back into the tunnel, and you can make out whispers immediately. And so just as Fetid and Glorpa, just as you guys have left a nice gust of wind in your wake and made your way away from the trash heaps cave, you Fetid in particular, you become aware that there's like a buzz of activity, and quaggles are rushing around the tunnels, like scrambling, like something's going on big right now. The bruisers are all scattering. People are knocking over their little towers as they run around.
Very rude.
Scatter!
You want to grab somebody and see what's up?
Yeah, I want to grab the nearest quaggle and ask him what the heck is going on.
The goblin Gregory Stench is rushing past with his like armload of his like the garbage that he trades in up in the up above. He's like clearly just gathered a bunch of his like more important or valuable bits of trash and made a bundle of them. He's hustling. So you could grab him by his shoulder. What's up? And say, the sheriff and his men, they're setting fires all around the castle. They're trying to smoke us out.
Oh, geez. Okay. Let's see. Has everybody been warned?
It's right now. I gotta go.
Okay.
He's gonna like take his bundle and rush off, and you can see he's rushing to like top side, like he's trying to get out.
Yeah.
Before everything goes. I mean, that makes sense because he's like a trader and he's probably more worried about his stuff.
Mm-hmm. Would I know if they've tried this tactic before?
Not that you can remember, but like they've tried so many similar things. You're kind of like, yeah. It's one of those things where it comes in waves because there's like, merchants and stuff start complain about like the smell or like that there's too many quaggles around, and then it the noise level gets high enough that like the lords of the keep decide to do something, by which we mean like actually approve some of the sheriff's crazy, like the sheriff's always trying to like nab or club a quaggle whenever he can get a chance to, him and his deputies, but they they don't generally have like the support and like gold to mount major campaigns because they keep going wrong. So it's like the lord of the manor isn't going to be like, yeah, sure, spend another bunch of money on a harebrained scheme that's not going to do anything.
Okay.
And you've heard in the past, like, because you haven't been here forever. You've heard people tell stories about like, the battle of something where like a bunch of quaggles were killed or run off. So it's actually they've succeeded to some degree at times, but it's just they don't follow it up. It's not like they do anything to prevent quaggles from coming back. So. It's just like, if you've got like a barn full of rats and you don't actually put in the time and money to put flashing up around, around the barn, they're still going to get into the grain again if you don't put up some tin sheeting. Sorry, that's the prairie boy in me coming out.
Do we see any of the fires? Are they like?
Yeah, that was going to be my.
You don't smell any smoke yet or anything like that.
Okay. Where are we exactly right now?
You're on your way back from like the deepest parts back up to the surface. So at this point you could go into the dungeons under the castle, or you could go up towards the outer tunnels, or wherever you want to go.
I think we should start heading, I'm gonna ask Glorpa to come with me, and we should head for the nearest entrance and warn everybody we pass on the way if they don't already know.
Definitely.
Glorpa, you may be on fire control duty in the near future, depending on what we find.
I got some power in this.
And I may try to murder the sheriff if I see him.
Actually, do you want to keep telling people along the way, and I'll like run right up and see if I can find the nearest fire?
I think right now we should stick together just so we don't lose track of each other.
I also would just lose myself.
Already
It's
slipped
lost
through, I
pretty
guess.
fast
Yeah.
down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I'd like to just make a beeline for the surface and warn whoever we come across, because it seems if the idiot merchant knows, then probably most people already know.
Yeah, you'd probably head for the rock,
Yeah.
the main, because that's where the major sort of gathering place is, towards the outside. And as you get closer and closer to it, you can see that that's kind of where people are coming from. That seems to be where the news is spreading from, so they seem to know there. And people are being sent to try and, like, you'll actually pass someone who's got like a bunch of firewood that is like, I nabbed all the firewood at whatever South Tower. It'll name an entranceway. And you have the knowledge of this underground warren to basically like really quickly make your way around to wherever you want.
Okay. Let's see. I want to try and can I see Tromlin from here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, as you get closer to the rock, you can see Tromlin, and you know that's where he was. You know that's where you left him.
I want to link up with him and ask him what he saw, if he saw anything, because I don't know that he is the one who warned people yet.
I assume I'm probably at this point packing my entire cart up. Like this is done.
Yeah, you had the morning was really the main period of your business. It's already sort of slowed down for the day, so yeah, you can quickly pack up.
That's fine.
And as you're doing so, you'll actually see Ugna and Perny strolling through the market in your general direction.
Oh yeah, they're cool. Oh, great. I wave to them all, and when I see my young Quaggle friend, I'll wave, and I'll kind of motion to the sheriff, who is tied to a burning cart.
Oh, he's still tied there?
Well, so you can't see what's going on with them anymore because remember they're around the corner from where you are. And by now, certainly the sheriff has like gone running off in some direction and like done a full body face plant as the rope reaches its end.
Well, I will tell my Quaggle friend. I caught the sheriff snooping. Set my familiar to look. I saw what they were doing. I did warn Ma Quackle, but also I may have had my familiar tie him to the cart and set him on fire.
Nice. That's exactly what I would have wanted you to do in that situation. Thank you very much.
No. Hey.
How would you feel about murdering him?
I feel that would cause bigger problems. I think
that is the drawback, right? Like the balancing act that we have to strike is like, okay, yeah, the sheriff sucks. He's constantly trying to kill us, but what if we kill him and they put somebody competent in his place?
Well, the problem is if you kill him, they will bring in someone.
Yeah, no, they'll burn the entire rock down.
Well, on top of that, it'll anger the Thieves Guild because I'm assuming out of character that the guild likes the sheriff for being incompetent.
Yeah.
Probably a big part of it too is that it isn't just that the sheriff's incompetent. It's just that he's the only one who has a significant appetite for trying to wipe out the Quaggles. You're like this particular venture. You can already sort of imagine what happened. That he went to like his superiors and was like, "Well, what if his superior specifically, right, the Lord Mayor, whose name is Hogg, and went to the Lord Mayor and asked him, what if we just set a bunch of fires and tried to smoke them out? That wouldn't cost. That'd be cheap, right?
That would also fucking destroy part of the city.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
it depends on what they're doing. If they're just setting fires around the stone walls of the castle, little campfires to get smoke into the tunnels, that's not going to burn the city down. But it's the sort of thing where, this is a venture that when it catastrophically fails, as it will, then there's going to be no appetite for a good long while to do anything about the Quaggles. Whereas if like the Quaggles rose up and murdered a bunch of the city guard, they would be like, this is a problem we need to definitely address.
Yeah.
The Quaggles are revolting.
The Quaggles are revolting. I know, sir.
You get used to it.
Yeah.
The smell, I mean.
You have to find a better way.
Yeah.
No, what we need to do, and I'm going to say this to Jeff's character, and actually everyone is there. Look, this is going to keep happening. We bought time. The sheriff looks idiotic now. He's not going to be able to curry any favor with Hogg for a bit. We need to find a way to get the Quaggles to be able to curry favor with merchants.
Yep.
If the merchants can feel the Quaggles benefit them as opposed to push people away, like anything, even if it's like they're basically a more competent police force on their own, without offending the Thieves Guild, hell, even if the Thieves Guild involved somehow, that puts pressure on Hogg because the merchants pay enough taxes. They're not going to want to pay taxes if someone they care about or is useful to them is endangered.
That's true. That is a good point.
Solve this problem with economics.
And if we
Yeah,
can,
honestly,
economics and diplomacy.
if we can counterlever that with showing or basically making sure that the fallout of the sheriff's bad plans hurts the merchants. So we have that as contrast to the Quaggle efforts repairing that kind of damage or doing good things.
honestly,
Double whammy.
Well, with that in mind, is there anything you want to do in this particular situation other than like put out the fires and stop the effort?
No, I think Tromlin is right. This is more of a chronic problem than an immediate like strategic threat. So I think we
I
make
will
sure
point
how
out
important it is.
There is an immediate aspect to it in that if this just doesn't work right now, they're going to definitely just try again.
Yeah.
Try and pick another time when the Quaggles maybe won't notice. What you've done in the past is you got to make sure that when the sheriff's plans fail, they fail spectacularly in some way.
Oh, question. So there's a giant ruckus going on in the marketplace.
There's a bit of a ruckus going on next to the marketplace where they're putting out that fire you started, and the sheriff fell on his face.
Which is where my cart is. Correct?
Your cart is... You want to pull the map back up, Alina? And
Sure.
I can show you exactly where we're dealing with. Oh, wrong mouse.
Also, are there tapestries on the wall of the castle? Or anything flammable?
I would say that in certain places, yes. Back on the map?
Yep.
Okay, so this, I'm going to do some drawing. This is where Quaggle Rock is. And Tromlin's cart was set up on one side of it. And you were on this side of it over here. So on the other side over here, this is where basically the edge of the rock is where Ma and Pa Quaggle's little cafe is. The ruckus right now is happening over here.
Yeah.
I switch my color up. This is really annoying.
Now, question:
color.
Is there any wood of the kindling in the area where my cart is?
There's a bunch of junk at the next to the rock, but like also you would have some stuff like that.
Well, am I?
So yeah, here's.
Am I a merchant
still brown?
in good
What was that?
Am I a merchant in good standing?
You are.
Mm-hmm.
So if something happened to my cart, other merchants would not be
Spell
happy.
lawsuit.
Hey, Lane, click on the color beside your name at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then switch that up.
I figured it out.
Yeah.
It's because I clicked on it on the thing I was drawing again, it switched me back. It's very annoying.
So I'm just saying, like, if something happened to my cart, that would upset other merchants, correct?
Especially if you made a big enough stink about it.
If you made a big enough stink about it. So I'm just going to put some dots. This is where they have set that's what they had set so far. That's where they had set up tunnel entrance fires.
I have an idea. It requires me to make a sacrifice and also sacrifice some other merchants.
I mean, you always have good ideas, so...
How does... this is out of character, I guess I should ask.
Yeah.
Would it be possible for me to watch helplessly as my cart goes up in fire while my monkey is going around spreading fire on the down low to other carts?
Ooh.
What?
Mean.
Nice.
It's a doable thing.
Monkey arson.
Oh.
Yeah, monkey arson. I want to monkey arson this. I will lose my cart. I will be sad about it. I will have to find another way to deal with it.
I think
Why
if
you
you do this, I'm pretty sure the Quaggles can scrape together enough stuff to build you a new cart.
You have rich relatives now, anyway.
That's
Out of
true.
gratitude.
Yes, but most of them want me dead, so I don't like calling in favors. All right. What is a performance check to act like, oh no, my cart's on fire? Why set it on fire?
What is? Hold on. What am I missing?
We're trying. So the sheriff has obviously started this fire thing, and it's gone out of hand. And we're trying to make it look worse so that he gets blamed for a lot of property damage.
Okay,
And the
you're not
merchants who
trying
have
to get
power
them
hate him.
No.
Yeah, we're not actually trying to hurt anyone, but
No,
we do need to create,
Also,
we
if
need to
we
create
could-
some buckets.
Ideally, this will only be property damage.
Okay.
Can I spot any bits on the castle that are flammable? Or on the wall?
Yes. So I said there are definitely some flags and tapestries on the like higher up on the walls where it's would be really, really unlikely for the fire to get to them. But
If the fire was
Obviously,
going
that could
far
be
enough.
Jordi is really actively resisting the urge to summon the pyromaniac
demon?
demon and make it invisible.
As spectacular as that would be, I feel like that
Yeah.
would stretch the bounds of plausibility.
Tromlin, you got a bunch of
But-
like stuff that burns real good in your cart, right? Oil burns, doesn't it?
Yes.
You gotta have
And I
oil
have-
for making food.
I have oil. I have wines. I have liquors that I use. You can make Molotovs more or less.
I
So-
grab one of the oils and I just kind of spray it on the wall, and I'm like, oops.
Should I try that with my much better ability to do it with sleight of hand? So it's not as obvious.
A good
Fuck
idea.
this!
Yeah. Yeah. So let me try and summarize what's going on here then. So you have your monkey familiar that you can send around to start fires. You don't even need to use magic through it because you can just give you can control this monkey and it can act
Give
like
that monkey a
it has
Molotov.
hands. You can just give the monkey your like flint and steel, and maybe even like a flask of like cooking oil from your cart.
Actually, yeah, and he can then make a long line.
Yeah, I can just go around and like pick some places near enough to the castle to make it plausible that that's
Spell it
where the
out
fire
so
came from.
The sheriff was here.
Maybe not quite that bad.
We can ham it up. It'll be
So-
great.
I'm gonna. Can I, as I'm seeing this happen and I'm catching up on like what's going on, can I send a little message to Fetid
Mhm.
and say, maybe get the Quaggles ready to make a big visible rescue and pull the flaming cart into the canal to pout it out and save all the merchants.
There you
That's a
go.
good idea. All right,
Have them ready.
I'm gonna run inside and try to find. I wonder who would be the best to do this. Actually,
Cuddles is big and strong.
I wonder.
The canal is quite a ways, or the river is quite a ways away, but
That means everyone will see it.
Honestly,
In fact, I'm
Quaggle chain.
Yeah.
Up,
Yeah.
up and down.
Yeah. Plus, I can summon like a phantasmal steed and make it invisible to just like help. Or Ugni, you're like
Yeah,
a celebrity.
I
If you're like, I stand with the Quaggles.
Hell
You
yeah.
like help them.
Mhm.
I start wearing like a trash soiled armband and be like, Quaggle Pride Man.
Yes.
can I get a roll?
The banana
I'll get a,
peel.
I'm gonna get a roll from Fetid.
Yeah.
I'm just double checking what roll I want you to make on this.
I know we
For
had more
fire
important things to do
control.
tonight, but
This is the
taking-
most important thing in this
Nope,
world.
This is awesome. I would like you to roll me a knowledge. This is if your intelligence plus your your proficiency bonus, so a +5.
All right.
Hey, you got to do inspiration.
Yeah, I
true.
only rolled a 6, so I'm gonna blow an inspiration
Sweet.
on this.
You are full of
Oh, I
inspiration.
rolled even
tonight.
worse, a 2. All right, so
Nice.
6
So-
and 5 is only 11.
That is
Can
the
I
best. What's that?
can we pile inspiration on? Can I spend one on Fetid's?
It's a 2-to-1 to spend for someone else,
Actually,
but you
I
can.
should probably do that. I never use mine.
Dump some Glorpa on there.
2 Glorpas.
2
Boom,
from
boom.
Glorpa for an. I'll let that fly. Make another reroll.
2 Glorpa coins.
There's Glorpin on there.
Oh, 6 again. I'm
Oh.
Oh shit.
No.
Let's dig the hole deeper. I'm in for 2. Put me in for 2.
Alright.
This is where the revolution
See if I
begins.
can break 10. That's much better. That is a 16. So 21.
There we go.
21. Okay. So
For
that
spending
is
all of
based
your
on.
inspiration on me.
You have. I love that this is what you guys are spending your inspirations on too. This is very trash heroes.
Yep.
So you have the background city secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And your sewer tribe. So you basically, based on this plan that has been pitched to you, you would think that the best things to do are Ma and Pa Quaggle at the store, because
Mhm.
they'll have some kind of like whether it's a big pot of soup or like a bunch of just drinking water or whatever, they'll have a source of putting out fire. But then
Yeah, I wanna-
secondly, rapidly as possible, which you can do by like grabbing an animal and saying, "Hey, messenger,
What I
go
was
do
gonna
this."
do, yeah.
Get Cuddles to come over. You just did Cuddles a huge favor yesterday,
Mhm.
and his bridge is just south of the castle.
Mhm.
So get Cuddles out here to get him involved, because he's
He
again a
should
known Quaggle.
grab another cauldron and fill it with water to come and throw on the fire.
Yep.
Don't put it on your head.
Mhm.
Um,
That is
and then
my plan.
Good.
in addition to that, if you actually, that's even another idea, is that there would be big cauldrons for cooking and stuff in Ma and Pa Quaggles. Glorpa can just make some water happen,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
And she does not understand the scheme at all.
Good.
This is not the shit she gets. She's going straight for Tromlin's wagon first, too.
I mean, you
So-
look like a Quaggle, so it just looks like you're helping with the rest of them.
Yeah, true.
Fine.
Just so I've got everything's going on here, Tromlin's equipped the monkey and is sending him out. Are you doing anything else to help the monkey be disguised, or like are we just going pure stealth rolls?
I will try to smear some dirt on him so he's ruddy. He matches into the cobblestones and stuff. Do a fast camouflage.
That won't do a lot, but it's
Like,
better
give him a
than
little
nothing.
rag as a tunic.
I mean, I could try to disguise him as a dog real fast, but he's a dog running around with Flint and Tinder.
Yeah, that's also going to take a fair amount of time. I'm just looking. I thought you had like a trickster invisibility thing. Yeah, sorry. You can give him advantage on stealth rolls for an hour
Okay,
Ooh.
I'll do that.
with the blessing of the trickster.
I'll give him a little peck on the forehead.
I thought you had something like that.
I think Abisu would love this chaos.
I look at him like Emperor Tamarin. Make their lives a burning hell. That's right.
While this is happening and all this is rallying, Perny is just casting thaumaturgy after thaumaturgy to knock open every window in the area so that anyone who's like inside their house suddenly is having all this noise come in and is like coming out to see what's going on. Like, we're gonna, every 6 seconds, another window, boom, open. We're gonna make a fucking spectacle out of this.
Yep.
And once we feel like there's enough people gathered, I'd like to use thaumaturgy to also do like the loud voice thing and be like, "Oh my goodness, the sheriff's plan has set fire to the merchant's quarter. It's all chaotic. It was such chaos." And he's gonna and then when the Quaggles start coming in, he'll be like, "The Quaggles, they're trying to save the merchants." And it's so loud, and Perny's just this bystander who's shocked, but really narrating.
Well, and
This
it's
is
like
the headline.
the best is it's going to be the old man voice, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be like it's like the old man shouting at cloud narration. It's like, "Oh, look what's happening, everyone." So Ugna, you wanted to try and get some of the tapestries above the fires that were set to catch. What are you going to do to try and make that happen?
I'm like surreptitiously sneaking a bigger pile of wood up against the castle instead of near one of the Quaggle entrances. And I'm going to spill some grease on it.
That's not going to do it unless you, that's like, unless you built like a giant 20-foot bonfire, it's not going to reach high enough to the castle walls.
That's pretty funny.
Can my monkey run up the wall, climb the wall, and pour oil down towards it?
It could, but you've got a task already going on for the monkeys. This is all kind of simultaneous.
You're right.
You could throw something.
I'm pretty good at throwing things. Just huck a bottle of oil up there.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll spend an invisibility slot on Ugna because I
Good.
don't know if she'll be able to be. She's a celebrity.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
She's throwing
for
Molotov
sure.
Yeah,
cocktails.
I'm a celebrity and I'm like 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
I'll use an invisibility spell for
So
that.
you start, Ugna, you start to like tiptoe away, like you grab
I'm
like a
doing my
thing of
sneaking
oil,
music.
Ding.
and you start to steep away, like under your breath, you're going like do 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 do.
Yep.
Do, 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 do. And suddenly you just completely disappear.
I'm so good at this.
Nah.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's in a row,
Does anybody
man.
else want to be invisible while I'm doing the casting? I can hit anyone else who needs it.
As a merchant, I need to be visible, so I can be
Yeah.
screaming.
Does the monkey want to be invisible?
He's only be invisible because actually
You could hit
yeah.
fully invisible would be even
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. All right.
And I mean, the stealth rolls will still be relevant because actually setting the fires requires a stealth roll. So
Sure.
at that point, I'm not even going to roll for it. The monkey has been made invisible and been given stealth advantage. You're going to get those fires set, no problem.
invisible
Arson
monkey.
Ugna.
monkey, arson monkey.
This is a very arson monkey. Ugna, I would
Yeah.
like you to roll me a stealth, however, to get
Oh,
your
good.
fires started.
Oh, good.
I mean, you're
Ooh.
good at this. You got a +5.
Holy crap! And I rolled a 17.
Nice.
So
Excellent.
22. Plus
Now
I'm
make me an
invisible.
attack roll.
What? I'm very bad at those.
Ranged attack roll.
Cool.
Mhm.
I rolled an 18. What is my bonus on an attack roll?
Oh,
like
I
a
mean, you've rolled.
plus-
If you rolled an 18, you have with a
A
ranged
+6.
attack roll, which is Dex.
Yeah, it's a plus.
It's only a +5,
Gotcha. So 23.
but that's still
Yeah,
ridiculous.
only
23.
So you absolutely are going to hit whichever tapestry you're aiming at here. And you might even, I'd say, you get a couple of them. So you take some.
So Tromlin's cart's flaming in the foreground, and I'm like, that one, like, as though a spark had jumped from Tromlin's cart to the tapestry, impossibly high.
Nah.
Fire does weird
Outside of
things,
the-
man.
So yeah, you're doing this, I'm assuming, over where they were setting fires. So if you look at the
Yeah.
map,
They were along the
You
side
s-
there.
yeah, away
Yeah.
from where Tromlin's cart is. But Tromlin was going to have his cart be a center point as well, because that's where you're going to have the fire get put out.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you are invisible. So you like run around past all of this commotion with the soldiers putting out the fire on that cart, and untying the sheriff who's like cursing it. You can hear him underneath the cart, going, "Good damn them quaggles!" As
Oh,
he
by the way,
does, as he always does.
If I need a sleight of hand roll to do all this, I rolled a 19.
Ooh.
You do. I was going to get you to do that just for setting the fire on your own cart. That was
That
the
was what I
one
was
thing
going
you were.
for. Like,
That was the
Oh!
surreptitious thing you did.
oh no, how did this happen? A 19 plus. Oh, sorry. Plus 6. 25. How did this happen? My beautiful cart.
And so, yeah, as you run past Ugna, you run past this this ruckus of the soldiers putting the fires out, and the sheriff's deputy, Junior, who is like a big dumb Goliath, is like trying to get the rope untied off his leg, and like grabs the rope and picks him up. So now he's hanging upside down from the rope, and he's trying to undo the tiny knot because his fingers are being. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, boss." He's like, "Get me out of this." And you just bolt past them to where you can see the furthest down fires are already going. They're already smoldering. And you stop, throw some of the, you just have some, like, you grabbed a jar or something from Tromlin's cart and put some oil in it, and you throw it, smashes, soaks the tapestry with oil, and then you grab, like, a stick of the burning wood from one of these fires and throw it up there, and that starts to go up. Fetid, you done your animal messenger and sent, like, one of your filthy pigeons to go and get Cuddles to get over here.
Yeah.
And while this was going on, Glorpa is actually, you had said Glorpa was going to put out fires, so Glorpa is probably being led around by the quaggles around the perimeter of the warren, so that where the fires have already started and they're smoking, Glorpa can just like put out control water bursts of splash to put those out.
Mm-hmm.
Or even gusts of wind to blow the smoke back out.
True too.
Okay, so in very short order, tapestries on the south wall of the castle are now burning. The smoke is being directed away from the Quaggles' dens. The soldiers have gotten their stuff under control at the wagon, but now there are fires popping up along the merchants that are closest to the wall of the castle. And Tromlin's cart is now a merry blaze. And suddenly there are these shouts in old man voice of like, "Oh no! Look what's happening!" And I guess this is going to culminate in. Oh, I think you're muted, Peter. I'm missing your performance.
So Perny's yelling, "Oh no, I've never seen police brutality gone so awry. Oh, we need to defund these police and perhaps put the power to control things back in the hands of civilians. And oh my goodness, who's this emerging from the burrows beneath the ground here? Why, it's the friendly Quaggles, here to help the merchants and all of us kind folk of the city. I've never seen such a sight."
I'm assuming that you will spearhead like rallying your people to come out and fight fires.
Yeah.
And immediately bursting out from like one of these small little holes, like impossibly, the flexible, goopy body of Cuddles the troll will vomit forth and become. And grab a cauldron full of water from Paul Quaggles and like splash this all over Tromlin's cart. Okay, so a scene of hullabaloo results, and there's a mass effort to extinguish fires, led by you guys, and Quaggles and many townsfolk come rushing in to start to put out the fires. The soldiers, of course, abandon their plan and immediately start, helping put out the fires because that's obviously the big threat that's in front of them.
At a certain point, you're like, you guys have done enough.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, this is.
I don't live near my cart.
Let's
Yeah, this is happening everywhere, though, right? Like
Put
the
some like
soldiers
real
are trying
venom
to
in your voice and be like, "No."
Soldiers are probably trying to put the fire out on the castle first, I imagine.
Yeah.
But you can hear the. Yeah, of course, and you can hear. I would just think, yeah, there's some parallels here. There's like, yeah, the cart was the police car that was on fire, and the, yeah, and you can hear the sheriff, bellowing through all this, like, yeah, they didn't go so wrong. God, it's your fault, Junior. As they put out fires, and so that chaos extends into the afternoon. Eventually, fires are all put out. Tromlin, your cart isn't too bad. It could probably be repaired, rip off all the outer boards and rebuild it. Since you got the fire put out pretty fast when the Quaggles came first to that. Well, yeah, I mean, you'll have to go and talk to the Lord Mayor and be like, I demand compensation.
And he's not going to be happy because his castle was on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, hey, like he's saying there's no fire.
I think it's very important when you speak to the mayor, you stress that the Quaggles only offered solutions and that this was all instigated by the police. I think a good way to make this memorable is to present this as a song, perhaps titled "We Didn't Start the Fire." But an anthem for the people to really remember this day.
What about burning down the house?
Oh, excellent.
Oh man, yeah, you have to lyrics to do
the same as burn Quaggles.
Oh man, that's good. So yeah, that the sun sets on the scene of like slowly resolving chaos later in the day. Anything?
Invisible
further
Ugna
you
has
guys
found
wanna...
some popcorn and is like sitting beside Tromlin.
Nice.
Yeah, eventually the spell wears off and you just like poop out of nowhere.
I'm just oomph.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that for a while.
That's a productive day.
Yeah.
I guess at some point I should probably tell y'all what Trash Grandma had to say about the frog
Yeah,
people.
let's talk about the
Before you do that, that whole mess put us behind for the break. So why don't we take a break now?
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're about 15 minutes behind, but we were in the
Go,
middle
go.
of some crazy
Yeah.
crap that I was like,
Yep.
there's no way I can keep track of this after the break. We'll
Yeah.
just finish it now. So
That
let's take a 10-minute break now and then pick it back up.
Sounds good.
But
Get some tea.
excellent. Some extremely trash adventures here.
Mhm.
See y'all in 10.